and this is Group 1 and Group 2. We're doing a project on predictive modeling of 2027 Kenyan general elections outcome using machine learning model, and to be specific, we used random forest. Our group members are Ezekiel Mutinda, Jack, we have Godia, we have Lillian, we have Bridget, we have Wesley, Finley, Dennis, Charles, Boniface, and Andre. Right, on the project summary, basically our project, we utilized social media data. That is data from X and Facebook. And we also used some data from Kaggle and also synthesized some data, because the data we got from these two platforms was very minute. So we had to go and get more data. And this data, it helped us to build a machine learning model that is able to predict the outcome of the Kenyan presidential election come 2027. Some of the key findings are that the leading candidate, William Ruto, is the dominant figure in social media conversations. That is in terms of mentions and in terms of mentions in different chats. And this predicted a lead with 27.5% support. The prediction also indicates that there is likely to have a highly competitive race because with 5 candidates, that is 5 candidates registered at 10% support. So the race seems to be competitive come 2027. The model also predicts that a runoff election is highly likely, as no single candidate projected that is a 50 votes plus 1% that the constitution allows one to be declared a winner. You have to have 50% plus one of the votes. The random forest classifier also achieved an overall 66.1% accuracy on this challenging 10 class prediction problem. So thank you. Next presenter, please.
All right, thank you. My name is Godia, and on the project summary still, we'll look on data sources, and on our entire training processes, we used data gather from different sources, and one of them was Twitter, that is formerly known as X, that is formerly known as Twitter, and we access it through API, though accessing through API was it has some very disadvantages, that is severe pricing and restrictiveness of data, and platform dependency. So those are the tools that we used, the API v2. The next source was Instagram. Still we used API and scraping. The next was the Kaggle. That was a direct download. It didn't have any issues. The last one was we had to simulate data. That is to create a replica that will replicate the statistical properties, patterns, and relationships found in real-world data processes. Thank you. Next presenter.
Thank you so much. My name is Boniface Moniki. Still on the project summary, I'll be taking you through some of the challenges we faced in partaking this task, with the main one being data acquisition, where, as my fellow colleague has said, that getting APIs from Twitter was quite disadvantageous, since developer Twitter accounts only allowed one environment, which is set to 100 post retrievals and 500 writes per month. So all of us couldn't get enough data or sufficient data for our training. So this made us get little data, where we mitigated by simulating data. through tools like the Faker, where we simulate synthetic data, real synthetic data, so that we may be able to fill in the gaps of the data so that we may get more data for analysis. So higher tier APIs will be better, but they are not quite accessible for student level, but higher tier APIs will be better to access the data. Then still on the data access, after we got our data, there is data restrictions. There is we got data restrictions through the API, where we are not, as students we couldn't get enough access to get our data. That's why we had to simulate data. So this justifies our approach to simulating our data and filling those gaps so that we may be able to get enough data for our project. Thank you so much.
My name is Odiongeti, and I'll be taking you through the data lineage and merging. So our merging strategy, where despite datasets are joined using candidate mentions and or hashtags and timestamps ranges as common keys. This ensured alignment across platform while preserving temporal context. Another one was final dataset composition. The consolidated political data set contained the total record count entries with contributions. Distributions are as follows: 40% from Twitter, 30% from Instagram, 5% from Kaggle, which was reference data sets, and 25% from stimulated data. Thank you.
So, hi, my name is Bridget, and I will be taking you through methodology overview. So, onto the methodology, we follow 3 steps whereby we did data understanding and exploration to understand how many rows and columns are there in our data set, to understand the relationship between the columns and the target variable. Then we did a data pre-processing and cleaning step, whereby we did data pre-processing and cleaning, whereby we handled missing values, dropped the missing values, and also checked for duplicates, and also, yeah. Then we also did feature engineering, whereby we used text mining to extract political figures, parties, and created engagement metrics. This process was successful since we identified 9 eligible candidates and their parties. Yeah, on to the next slide. We also did exploration and advanced visualization, whereby we wanted to understand the relationship between the columns, also draw charts of different political and region classification to understand the relationship between regions and politicals, or between different political parties. Then we also did data balancing with the SMOT to evaluate class imbalance, whereby one candidate was dominating more than the other. You find out that Ruto had more dominance than the other candidates, so we were trying to avoid that. Then the next step of our steps, we did model evaluation and development, whereby we built our model using random forest and evaluated using the evaluation metrics like precision and recall. Then now the final step was model insight and analysis. We wanted to now find the insights from the model, like understand the insights. Yeah, thank you. And to the next presenter.
Hello, thank you. My name is Lilian Wanja. I'm going to take you through exploratory data analysis and key visualizations. And on our first EDA or analysis, we have a bar chart that is able to plot mentions against the various candidates that we had in our dataset. And we can see from our bar chart, it displays the count of mentions for the top 10 political figures, clearly showing the dominance of William Ruto and the distribution of the attention across other candidates. And we can see Ruto is leading with 8,874 votes, mentions rather, and followed by Rigathi Gachagua, who has 2,000 mentions. And from the previous slide, Bridget has been able to mention that our dataset had imbalancing, and here it's really clearly evident that the difference between William Ruto and Gachagua among the rest of the other candidates, it varies and there's so much imbalance. So from our dataset, we had so much imbalance, which we also handled. Thank you. Thanks, presenter.
Hello, I'm Audrey and I'll be taking you through the word cloud. Knowing very well that our word cloud works with the most frequently appearing letters being the largest ones and the most rarely appearing ones being the smallest ones. From our data set and the word cloud before you, you can see that William Ruto is the largest letter word that appears, meaning he had the most votes and his name was the one that was frequently mentioned, followed by Uhuru Kenyatta, then Raila Odinga. And in the background, you can also see their candidates such as Eugene Wamalwa, who appear in small letters, meaning that they were not as mentioned as the other candidates. This word cloud was generated to visually highlight the most frequently mentioned names, phrases, and themes in Kenyan political discourse. It reflects public attention, media focus, and recurring topics from the collected data text. Thank you.
Hi, I am Wesley and I will be taking you through the candidate mentions across the top regions in Kenya. And as you can see this chart, the section where it's colored red is where the mentions are many as compared to the other where it's colored a bit yellow. And so from the graph we can see that across all regions, William Ruto was able to get most mentions, and Eugene Wamalwa got the least mention across all regions. And it followed that order as William Ruto got most, then Rigathi, then Kalonzo, Fred, then Eugene. The heat map shows the candidate mentions, and it highlights the regional engagement patterns and comparative attention among the candidates. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dennis, and I'll be taking also through the idea and TV shows, and I'll be taking you through the party distribution across Kenya in form of the pie chart. And as you can see, the largest section is the pink color with the 42.5%. That shows that the UDA, the United Democratic Alliance, was the leading party was the leading party across Kenya. With, as you can see, it has the biggest share, followed by DCP and the others. Also, we have the regional and time-based activity where, yeah, over here is you can see the other DCP, Jubilee, and the others. On the regional political activity, the, here we can be shown how the votes were identified across the 7 regions, with Western region having the highest political activity, followed by Rift Valley, Nairobi, like that with the actually we are being shown the number of votes on the horizontal axis and on the y-axis is the region and the intensity of the regional political activity is being shown by the variation of the length of that line. Yes. Thank you. Next.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm Finley Magembe. I'll be taking you through the regional and time-based activities for the 5 candidates that we accessed from the data. So according to the pie chart, it shows that William Ruto has the highest share, indicating he is far ahead of the other candidates. Rigathi Gachagua being the second position with the lower than William Ruto, which is 14.9%, followed by Kalonzo Musyoka, who is 11.6%, then followed by Fred Matiang'i, as the pie chart shows, has 10.8%, and the last one is Eugene Wamalwa. Simply, the pie chart interprets that William Ruto has the strong dominance more than the other candidates. And the remaining 4 can have much smaller and are more evenly distributed. Thank you. Next presenter, please.
Hello, I'm Charles Ashiri. I'll be taking you through model evaluation, model performance. So we have the model summary. Our model built using random forest classifiers, and we are able to achieve an overall accuracy of 66.1%. So as you can see the graph of feature against importance, we have the 10 classes. The model type is random forest with over 200 trees, 8 features, over 70,000 training samples, and over 17,000 testing samples. So the classes included the user followers, followed friend ratio, influence score, user friends, user favorites, word count, text length, mention count, sentiment score, and positive sentiments. Thank you. Next presenter.
Thank you. Finally, we have our final prediction. So from the pre-processing, feature engineering, EDA, balancing using smarting, model development and evaluation, our insights that we have gotten is that our model was able to predict the following levels of social media support for the top candidates, reinforcing the likelihood of a runoff. So based on our model, how it predicted, we get William Ruto being the person who leads with a 27.5%. So it shows that he's the likelihood of the next person to be able to win the 2027 elections, probably followed by Fred Matiang'i with a 16%, Rigathi Gachagua with a 15.8%, Eugene Wamalwa 15.4%, continuously to Kalonzo, Martha Mudavadi, and the rest with the last being Musalia Mudavadi with the 1.6%. Thank you. I'm Lillian.
Thank you. On the social network analysis findings, basically we discovered from the social network analysis of an online political conversation, we focus on 3 key metrics, that is network centrality, social network analysis findings, we focused on 3 metrics, that is network centrality, engagement quality, and polarization. On network centrality, it tells us who holds the most influence or control in the network. And from the analysis, William Ruto had the highest centrality score of 15.7%, correlating with his high volume of mentions. On the engagement quality, despite and this one tells us how often someone is mentioned, but how strongly people interact with the content related to them. So despite the lower volume, Martha Karua exhibited the highest engagement quality, and our supporters averaged 28.3 retweets per post compared to Ruto's 16.9%, that is 16.9, suggesting a highly dedicated or viral support base. On the polarization, the network showed a complete lack of bridge influencers, that is a between centrality of 0.00, and this indicates a distinct echo chambers where supporters of opposing candidates rarely interact. So these findings show overall, these findings show who dominates the conversation and who has the most dedicated supporters and how divided the online political spaces. So basically that was our presentation. And if we can be able to get some good data, then we can be able to give almost the exact outcome of the Kenyan 2027 general elections, because as you all understand, some of these candidates that were in our data, sometimes they tend to form coalitions, and or coalitions, that is, they combine their parties and they tend to make their muscle strong, and therefore with that it can lead to a different outcome from the one that we have given. But depending on the data that we got, this is what we were able to do. And thank you so much.